Hi Dylan, how are you?
I'm well, Josh. How are you?
Yeah, great, thank you. And it's such a pleasure to be able to speak to you about the film today because it is so good.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it.
So I wanted to start off. I was curious when you and Matt first decided to obviously come on board the Batman. How soon was it that both of you realized that maybe this was a story that had to take place in its own Batverse rather than trying to make it fit in that world with characters like Aquaman and the Flash?
From the beginning, when Matt started to think about the story that he wanted to tell, Warner Brothers was open and game to, doing that original version of what Matt wanted. Matt is a real filmmaker. He's trying to do something unique and different and great. And testament to Warner Brothers, they really did want to have a standalone Batman movie that hopefully could grow into sequels and other things.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it came to casting the film, you've obviously assembled a really terrific cast here, but was there anyone you had to really fight for, whether it was convincing Warner Brothers you were making the right decision, or even maybe the actors themselves that they were right for the characters you had in mind for them?
Warner Brothers was great. There was never a are you crazy? How could you put Colin Farrell in a although I think they did go, wait a minute, you got good looking Colin Farrell and you're turning him into this guy. But he was so brilliant in the part. I think they were happy we did that. I don't think there was I think Matt Reeves is such a great filmmaker that people took it seriously. I think for us, we really wanted to get the most, you know, the quality actors that you could just, see in all of the great movies. You wanted to put them in this universe. Sometimes there's a knock on comic book movies, and a lot of these people want to do bigger, higher, elevated things that are very dramatic. Matt, in his discussions with them, they realized he was trying to do something ambitiously, of quality. So we got a great group of actors.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And of course, this is a very specific year two story for Batman. And I'm curious whether moving forward, I know there's been quite tentative talks about a sequel, but do you think maybe it's going to stay in this year two period, or could we maybe jump forward to year three, four, five, six, and so on?
I really don't know. I think, it's always about where is Bruce emotionally and where you want to pick up with him. We didn't want to do an origin story with this. We didn't want to see him, as a Batman that had perfected his Batman ways. We wanted to see him kind of grappling with what that meant. I think we earned the arc at the end of the day. So it's a little bit premature. We're really focused on hopefully getting this movie seen on the big screen by as many people around the globe and they all say very loudly they want more. And then all of the ideas that have been percolating in our heads, wouldn't it be cool if we can start to put on paper and kind of land? But I can't say if I suspect it would go a little bit further than year two.
Oh, exciting. And of course, there have been so many versions of Batman on screen over the years, all with vastly different tones. But for you and Matt, what did you really want to do with this version of the character that would separate, obviously, Robert Pattinson's Batman from the ones we have seen, both in the recent past and obviously going back decades now?
I think we just, we're really focused on trying to create a grounded emotional story that connects in a thematic way. It's really about doing a proper story about, a person that is going to find out a lot of truths that he didn't know about his family legacy. And so it needed to feel grounded, needed to be set against, a Gotham City that felt, like a city in the United States. So we were just really trying to make something that felt contemporary, that was in tradition of the Batman movies, which, again, Zach's movies are great and Nolan's movies are great. Those also have some dark tones to them. We just think we're following in the lineage of those movies.
Yeah, and one very quick final question for you. I know without getting into spoilers, when I watched the film, that Batmobile sequence really blew me away. The beginning of the film, how the criminals of Gotham are just terrified of this idea of Batman, I thought was amazing. But for you, having seen the film now after spending, I think, the past 5 years working on it, what really surprised you and just blew you away when you got to see the movie?
I think that moment when it's been in the trailer, so I can talk about this, when Batman comes out and he beats that guy up to, those two extra punches, and then he says, "I'm vengeance." That tone set there that's Robert Pattinson doing those fights for real, and he's really intense in a way we haven't quite seen Batman. That, to me, that was our bona fides right there. We were really stamping something uniquely different in this character's trajectory.
Awesome. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for your time. Such a pleasure. As I said, for me as a comic book fan, this film's a masterpiece and I cannot wait for people to see it.
I love what you just said. Thank you so much. It's an honor to talk to you.
You too. Hope to speak to you again. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you.